Colombia, in Brazil,
Okay.
in the islands, Jamaica, and all of that. Those are the larger diaspora. And then Africans of the diaspora, maybe in the U.S. and on the continent itself.
Okay.
And what happened, these people were asked to fill up a profile on their motivation, where they are, what are the challenges facing them as Africans in terms of developing Africa.
Okay.
So it is that profile that is then reflected in this book, The Growing of Africa's Emergent Leadership. And out of that came some very, very exciting issues of the challenges facing us on the continent. They're all the same. What are those challenges? Those challenges identified by these young people. Challenges returning home from the diaspora, business, health, business opportunities, health, governance, peace and conflict resolution. These are some of the major challenges all of them are facing. So that comes out in the book. But another very exciting aspect of the book is that we identify many exciting things that are happening on the continent in different countries.
Okay.
And saying how indeed we can move this forward. Because where I'm headed is, I think we have to think about a 21st century Pan-Africanism.
Okay.
21st century Pan-Africanism. The Pan-Africanism of the past brought us to independence, brought our countries and all of that. But we have lost that dynamism.
And the marriage to democracy. You know, for a long time we've had leaders in Africa who refuse to give up power. They want to continue leading their country until they die, maybe become automatic leaders for life. I think that is changing too, because, you know, if you're going to practice democracy, and democracy says you're only entitled to 2 terms, why force the issue? Why go for a 3rd or 4th or a 5th term? You know, give someone else a chance who may have better ideas to move the country forward. I think marrying that with the democracy, if democracy is the model that we want to copy, would be part of this leadership, you know, phenomenon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good governance and all. And that's why it is critical to grow and develop leadership.
Okay.
So that all of these dimensions come to bear and one realizes what is the substance of leadership. Leadership is not staying there till you die. Of course, we understand that there will be some of our very older, elderly politicians who can only see it that way, and because they're near the end, they're going to stay there. But at the same time, there's a cost. Look at what happened in Burkina Faso. Absolutely unnecessary. Burkina Faso, they had to run him out. Look at Gambia. Look at Gambia. We have to stop this. So this is why the issue of leadership. Yeah, but as I told you,
Zimbabwe.
I have nothing to say. That's another ball game. Okay. I am not going there.
All right.
I am not going there.
That brings us to the 4th book, Madam Minister. The 4th book, The Liberian Way, Breaking the Cycle, The Growing of Liberia Emergent Leadership. Let's talk about this book. What inspired this?
Okay. First of all, the growing of Africa's emergent leadership is meant to be domesticated in each country.
Okay.
So that the growing of Africa's emergent leadership, you see it in the map of Africa.
Okay.
Now, each country has to take their map. You see the Liberian one.
Right.
The Liberian map of Africa, of Liberia, and then you put the young professionals in it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what inspired this again is the concern about what I call the future of the continent and the future of our country, Liberia. I am a passionate nationalist, very, very strong patriot, okay, and very concerned about what is the legacy of this, our generation, for the next. I am not talking about the president's legacy.
Before you go any further, this book, I recall, was launched at the University of Liberia campus at the Ruth Morgenthau Reading Room at the Louis Arthur Grimes School of Law. I remember very well because I was an MC at this program with the Vice President being present and other dignitaries. But let's just talk briefly on Ruth Morgenthau.
Yes, thank you very much. And this is very important. Ruth Morgenthau was my professor of political science with a focus on Africa at Brandeis University, where I did my undergraduate studies.
In Massachusetts?
In Massachusetts, yes,
Okay.
just outside Boston, Waltham, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Ruth Morgenthau is a prolific Africanist in terms of political science in French Africa.
Okay.
Okay. She was a mentor for me. And when she died a few years ago, her husband contacted me, the famous Morgenthau family. Okay, that's where she is coming from. Okay. Husband contacted me and said, look, my wife is dead. I have her extraordinary library, and I cannot think of anyone she would like to give it to than to you. At the time, I was Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
So I had two options. I said, do I give this library to the Minister of Foreign Affairs library or to the university? I decided to donate it to the university.
Okay.
I was able to get an extraordinary support from our then ambassador in Washington, D.C., Ambassador Charles Minor,
Okay.
to make arrangements with the Morgenthau family and others to try to ship these books to Liberia. And it was extraordinary, and I want to thank Ambassador Minor for this. I want to thank the University of Liberia
David
for
Jala was
accepting.
then at the
Yes,
law
he was
school.
at the law school, but Emmett Dennis and all of them,
Okay.
they received this concept very well, and they said, okay, we will be prepared to set up this. So we set up a reading room with all her things, and we basically dedicated that reading room in November when we launched the book at the same time. So
Okay.
David Jala and the current law school dean and Ambassador Minor.
Nibali Wana.
Yes, okay, the president of the university, all there.
Okay.
So we set up this reading room is there, and the Morgenthaus have promised and committed to provide some computers and whatnot for that. So it's
Wonderful.
as a tribute to her
Ruth
that
Morgenthau.
Ruth Morgenthau, the Ruth Morgenthau reading room, dedicated at the law school. Why at the law school? Well, why at the law school? Many of you may not know, but I was studying law.
Yes,
At
I
one
heard
point.
about that. Okay.
While I was at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs, I did 2 years of the law school evening program.
Okay.
When I was assigned to the Social Security program, every time there was an issue and an accident in the international expert, he went into law. So I said, I've got to go study this. So I did the first year of the law school,
Okay.
and then I joined the UN. I didn't finish my study
But maybe you
of
can
law.
go back and finish this program,
No,
get
no.
some credit, and then just do 1 or 2 more
I
years.
don't need to be a lawyer. You've got enough here.
You're watching the Dave Garnett Show. You're listening to the Dave Garnett Show. Our guest today is Her Excellency Honorable Olubanke King Akireli, former Minister of Commerce and former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Liberia. After we take our break, we'll come back and talk about her 5th book, The Liberian Way, Breaking the Cycle, the growing of Liberia emergent leadership. And we'll also talk about what she plans to do, the practical ways of moving forward. Don't go away, and please don't turn that dial. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. The Dave Garnett Show is sponsored by the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, NASCORP. NASCORP is revolutionizing the Liberian Social Security Program. Under its employment, injury, and national pension schemes, NASCORP fulfills the following benefits: temporary and permanent disablement benefits, constant attendance allowance, death benefit, funeral grant, medical benefits, retirement pension, invalidity pension, retirement grant, survivors grant and refund. NASCORP gives back to the community through its corporate social responsibility program to identify with national agenda and priorities such as adult literacy and primary education, safe drinking water, sanitation, national emergencies, health, higher education, economic empowerment, and agriculture and housing. NASCORP touches the life of everyone.
Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. You got the healing that I want, just like they say in the song, till the dawn. Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. We got this king size to ourselves, don't have to share with no one else. Don't keep your secrets to yourself. Kama Sutra show and tell. Yeah. Whoa, there's loving in your eyes that pulls me closer. It's so subtle, I'm in trouble, but I love to be in trouble with you. Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. You got the healing that I want, just like they say in the song, till the dawn. Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. You got to give it up to me. I'm screaming mercy, mercy, please. Just like they say in the song, till the dawn. Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. And when you leave me all alone, I'm like a stray without a home.
Ebola, go away from this land. Ebola, get away from Africa. You are evil and very wicked. God will give you Kayam Pepe. Ebola.
Bringing under the spotlight the development efforts in our country by the government, the private sector, and our international partners. With our moral obligations and civil responsibilities for the socio-economic and political future of our country. Make an appointment with the discussion this and every Wednesday at 8:30 to 9:15 p.m. with a repeat on Saturday from 8:30 to 9:15 p.m. Be a part of the Dave Garnett Show, a vision for the future.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dave Garnett Show. We're excited today to have in studio with us Her Excellency Honorable Olubanke King Akerele, our former foreign minister and our former Minister of Commerce of the Republic of Liberia. And we're talking about her fourth book that she's written. She's writing her story. She's writing the Liberian story in the Liberian way for the Liberian people and for the people in the diaspora to know about what is happening in Liberia. The Liberian way, breaking the cycle, the growing of Liberia emergent leadership. What is the Liberian way, madam?
The Liberian way, as defined by so many of our own people, is concerned with substandard, being ready to destroy each other, talking badly about each other, not giving credit to our people, and always looking for not the good, but the bad, the negative, pushing the negative, pushing the negative. You don't even know XYZ, but you destroy it. And I'll give you a couple of concrete examples.
Please.
And the book documents it by hearing the words of our own young people on the Liberian way.
Okay.
Okay, our own young people. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. my brother, Charles Ebu King, is always on the internet responding to all kinds of comments.
Okay.
Somebody wrote once to say that Samuel K. Doe's son, who has studied law in England, was coming home and was going to run for some elective office. I don't know exactly where it is. But then a commentator wrote and said, like father, like son, tried to destroy the young man. I do not know the young man. I've never met him. But the principle was that instead of giving this young man a chance to come back to Liberia and do his part, someone was castigating him up front. Didn't know anything about him, but just because he was Samuel K. Doe's son, you castigate him. You do not give that individual a chance to perform, to be a part of society. That is one example of the Liberian way. The other aspect of the Liberian way is settling for second best. We do not raise the standards. We are satisfied with second best. Somebody is going down the street. This is a story that is told to me.
Okay.
You see somebody coming the wrong way. The person in one car informs the person, my man, you're doing wrong. You know what the man who's doing wrong says? What are you talking about? And this Liberia? And this Liberia. In other words, can we not do anything here? It's okay. It is not okay. And the reason it is not okay, and the reason we have to have some standards, it says in the Bible, if you are not faithful to small things, you cannot be faithful to the big things. I.e., if we insist on substantiveness, mediocrity at the small level, then we take it to the national level. Then we take it to the national level. And we don't have standards. We settle for second best. And if you do not demand standards, we'll get nowhere. We'll get nowhere. The book, therefore, talks about this issue of leadership and the Liberian way. But it not only talks about it, we are hearing it from a variety of our immersion leadership, a variety of our people on the ground, in the diaspora. They talk about their efforts to come home and do things, and the impossibility. Those on the ground, the barriers that are created, and some of the barriers are man-made, and so on.
So we are trying to identify the Liberian way, especially the negative part of the Liberian way that needs to change.
Yes.
If we must get a better Liberia.
Exactly. And let me read one of the comments from one of the young people.
Please do.
Kaifa Dennis.
Okay.
Listen to his statement. Very interesting. I was indoctrinated into the Liberian way at a young age, and it had everything to do with living a virtuous life. This new mentality we find in Liberia, in reality, he calls it the anti-Liberian way.
Okay.
This way is all about self-interest, 100% of the time, a prospective, self-serving mentality that drives a person to seek any advantage or benefit, no matter what expenses or detriment it may cause to others. I believe this mentality was developed during the war as a means for survival, when the Liberian way that he mentioned earlier got flipped upon its head. Today, nearly every facet of life in our society is in some manner hindered by this. He calls it the anti-Liberian way, but it is in essence what we term the Liberian way.
And Kaifa is a young fellow that came back home and is making his contribution, I think, at the JFK.
No, not this one, I think. This one is in entrepreneurship business.
Okay.
This Kaifa Dennis.
Okay.
This is the son of Hillary Dennis,
okay,
who had the stevedore company and all of that.
All right.
There's other Dennises at the JFK.
Okay.
But what is beautiful about this, and what I'm most proud of, is that you are hearing directly from the emergent leadership of this nation. And if the emergent leadership of this nation is saying, look, we have a problem, I am saying in this book, what is the legacy of our generation for the next? Are we going to do something about it? And that is why I'm excited about this recent Forum for Societal Change.
Okay.
I am looking forward to being a part of it. This is what has been missing. And it has been missing because we as Liberians, we are so political. Everything you want to do, people get afraid because it's politics. It's
Okay.
politics.
Okay.
But I like this initiative, and I want to commend all of you who are involved. I look forward to being a part of it.
Thank you,
because
and we
that is
welcome
how
you
I
on
see
board.
the Liberian way is going to be the approach.
Breaking the cycle.
Breaking the cycle. We got to
Okay.
break the
We got to
cycle.
break the cycle through the Forum for Societal Change.
Yes, I think it can be a good
And we'll
mechanism.
welcome you on board.
Thank
It
you.
will be a pleasure having you as part of our team.
Thank
You've
you.
been watching the Dave Garnett Show. You've been listening to the Dave Garnett Show. Our guest today has been Honorable Olubanke King Akareli, former Minister of Commerce and former Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Republic of Liberia. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Stay tuned next week for another edition of the Dave Garnett Show. The Dave Garnett Show is sponsored by the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, NASCORP. NASCORP is revolutionizing the Liberian Social Security program. Under its employment injury and national pension schemes, NASCORP fulfills the following benefits: temporary and permanent disablement benefits, constant attendance allowance, death benefit, funeral grant, medical benefits, retirement pension, invalidity pension, retirement grant, survivors grant and refund. NASCORP gives back to the community through its corporate social responsibility program to identify with national agenda and priorities such as adult literacy and primary education, safe drinking water, sanitation, national emergencies, health, higher education, economic empowerment, and agriculture and housing. NASCORP touches the life of everyone.
Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. You got the healing that I want, just like they say in the song, Silver Dawn. Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. We got this king size to ourselves, don't have to share with no one else. Don't keep your secrets to yourself. It's Kama Sutra show and tell. Yeah. Whoa. There's loving in your eyes that pulls me closer. It's so subtle, I'm in trouble, but I love to be in trouble with you. Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. You got the healing
bringing under the spotlight the development efforts in our country by the government, the private sector, and our international partners. With our moral obligations and civil responsibilities for the social, economic, and political future of our country. Make an appointment with the discussion this and every Wednesday at 8:30 to 9:15 p.m. with a repeat on Saturday from 8:30 to 9:15